welcome back. We trust you all had a good break and enjoyed the couple of videos we showed there. We're now ready to start the Zoom Regenerative session, and really grateful that everyone stayed online. We have a different introduction to Zoom Regenerative this week. We'll be looking at some of the things which have popped up frequently on the Zooms, particularly mindfulness and meditation, etc. But then we're going to start showcasing some wonderful things which are happening here in the Northwest. And we've been doing that all day, but we're going to bring in lots more people. Loosely, this is based on Petakucha. So in theory, everyone will have 6 minutes, 40 seconds to share. We're going to be quite relaxed about that. People want to do 6 minutes, 40 seconds. That's brilliant. Otherwise, just talk to 5 or 6 minutes to a slide. So we have a wonderful lineup. I trust all the speakers are ready to go. Once we've done that, and that should take an hour and a quarter, I think, we'll drop into and I've called this the now famous Zoom Regenerative discussion and chat, which can take us in various directions, as it usually does, and we'll wind up at 9 o'clock. I'm going to go quiet now and pass over to Anna, and I'll be back to share my own Petakucha, my regenerative journey, at the end of all the sessions on Zoom.
Thank you.
Anna, I hear the church bells ringing. Is that a sign we need to go meditative?
It is, absolutely, yes. We've got our own chimes. Good evening, everyone, and welcome back. I hope you've had a restful break and thrown some food down, maybe. So this evening, just for 15 minutes, I'm going to talk to you about meditation, because for the regular visitors to Zoom Regenerative, you all know that I practice transcendental meditation, and I'm very fortunate to have John Rennick with me here this evening. He'll be doing a Petakucha later on in the evening anyway, but just as a prep for that, it's useful to talk about what sort of meditation, transcendental meditation is. So if John is there, if he could just unmute and just say hello, and then I'll do my little bit, and then John can pick up halfway through. Good evening, John. Good evening. I'll just have to turn my volume.
I'm grappling with the technology, but I think I should be there in a few minutes.
Well, then I'll take this first 4 minutes, 5 minutes,
right, okay.
And then I'll pass over to you. So I'll share my screen first, and then I'm going to put the video in the chat box with some specific instructions as to timings. Right, so let's have a look if I can just share my screen now. So, okay, can everybody see my screen? Have I got a thumbs up?
Yeah.
Just to recap, so I got into transcendental meditation as a way to really expand my day and be a bit calmer throughout the day. It was just there are all sorts of meditation techniques out there, but transcendental meditation is one that allows you to access a deep level, a profound level of rest and calm, and allow the processes of the day to come together in a way that you can process and excuse me, and process and do something with. So I wanted to expand my consciousness, and I wanted to expand the things that I could do. And there is a phrase that is used a lot in the TM movement now, which is called do more, accomplish more by doing less. And it really is an effortless system of meditation.
It's twice a day, 20 seconds, one in the morning, one in the evening. It encourages thoughts, and John's going to tell us why. But I think what it's given me is this ability to approach the day with many tasks in a busy world, in a busy day, take on more tasks and just not be anxious or anything like that. In fact, be the exact opposite, be super creative and approach everything with a curious mind. So John, if you'd like to unmute now and take it from there, I'd be very grateful.
Thanks. Well, I'm a teacher of transcendental meditation. I've been doing it for 48 years now. I learned just after being a student. I learned to become a teacher with Maharishi Mahesh Yogi in Europe, and I've found personally also fantastic benefit. I can't really imagine not meditating. You just do it for a short period, 20 minutes twice a day, and the rest of the time you forget about it and get on with your life. It's easy to do, it's very simple, effortless. It's not a religion, it's not a lifestyle, it doesn't involve a change in diet or habits or discipline or anything. The amazing thing about TM is that it's very simple to do. It's not complicated to learn. Anybody, Morris used to say, anybody could have a thought, can meditate. And we all have thoughts, and we found that we can teach people. I taught my children when they were 4. We can teach very old people. It's very, very simple. It's based on the principle that we all think and we all have thoughts. Now, what happens in meditation is that you're taught how to allow the mind to settle down to quieter levels of thinking. Now, the fact that we have a thought, involves a certain amount of activity. We all have thoughts all the time. We don't think about thoughts. They just come. Thinking is an automatic process. But the thought, when the thought gets into the mind, there's some kind of activity there. There's an activity. There's some attention. There's something happens. Now, that activity, if you are active at something, it does imply that you can be less active. If somebody can run, then they can walk. And if they can walk slowly. If they can walk slowly, they can stand still. So within the ability to think is the ability to think in a slightly and progressively less active way. And this is what transcending is. So it's not a new skill. It's not something that, that you learn and get better. You have to learn it, but it's not something that you improve at. Once you've learned how to do it, rather like riding a bike, you just get on your bike and you go. But the longer you meditate over a period of weeks, months, years, this is a very quick presentation, so I haven't got time to get into the scientific research, but there's been a massive amount of research. And the first research, this is back in the 60s, was really just done on what happens to people when they do TM, when they actually meditate, what actually happens. And so they measured skin response, skin resistance, sorry, things like breath rate, heart rate, and so on, measures of ordinary measures of relaxation. And what they found is after a few minutes of meditating, people experience this quieter physical activity. And the physical activity is getting quieter, less active, because it's tied in with the mental activity. So it's a mental technique. You do it sitting comfortably in a chair with your eyes closed, but because of the connection between mind and body, it's the same thing. Excuse me. Well, I can turn both my phones off. So what's the point? Well, why take 20 minutes out twice a day when we're very busy and we could be doing other stuff? Well, the main body of the research, which has happened over the last 40, 50 years, really, and is published, there's huge amounts of published work, peer-reviewed and so on. The main body of it has been on the mental and physical benefits of transcendental meditation. The mental effect is that definitely you start to use more of your creativity, more of your mental abilities. You don't suddenly sprout mental abilities that you didn't previously have. Can happen, but generally it's more that you polish up what you already have. And that happens because of the physiological effect of meditating. The mind and body settle down. The sort of stresses, the psychosomatic stresses, anxiety and all that, those things, which limit the full functioning of the mind and body, they start to be addressed in that settled state of meditating. It's just a relaxed state, basically. So that deep relaxation, you finish meditating, you come out and you're more creative. David Lynch, the film director, very keen advocate of TM has even written a book about this. You don't sit there concentrating, trying to meditate, or you don't sit there trying to do anything. You don't sit there trying to have ideas. Just afterwards, the mind is clearer and more expanded, and you start to have the ideas. But most of the research, frankly, has been done on health. So there are amazing amount of health benefits of getting rid of stress, as you'd expect. So not just the sort of dire psychosomatic complaints, heart disease and so on, but even just everyday things which just, vulnerability to worry and this sort of thing. And sorry, the physical correlate of that, which is all the psychosomatic complaints, they basically start to recede. And so it's no surprise that not just individuals are learning to meditate around the planet, but also organizations. So there are organizations which, like in America, the Armed Forces, post-traumatic stress disorder, they recognize the benefits of meditation. They do TM, they teach it as part of the training, and they put millions of dollars into this. But schools, there's a whole school, the whole area of Mexico, which is all the schools have the children meditating morning and evening. My 3 children all went to a school where they meditated when they got to school for a few minutes, and then they meditated before they came home. Oh. And it was a cool thing to do. So I could talk for a long time, but it's just a very quick introduction. And maybe I'll hand it over to Anna. But the follow-up would be 2 things. Either you could look up, wherever you are in the world, you could look up uk.tm.org, and the contact us box in the top right will lead you to how to follow up on TM in your particular place, wherever you are, whether it's in the UK, Europe, or wherever. And also, I think Anna's going to tell you about a short video that you can watch on YouTube, which covers what I've covered, but in more detail, going into the explanation in a bit more detail. So I look forward to talking to you in half an hour or so with my presentation on Vastu architecture and round Earth, and I can deal with questions then or now, don't mind.
Thank you so much, John. That's wonderful, and that's what's really important, in that meditation, transcendental meditation, is part of the branch of Vedic science, isn't it? And then we're going to hear another aspect of Vedic. There's so many branches of Vedic science, but as it pertains to construction, we're going to hear about later. And everything that we're talking about really feeds into what's gone on previously today, which is how can we be creative, how can we be calm in our approach, how can we be provocative and bring new methods and apply new methods going forward to address the problems in the built environment. So I'm very much going to look forward to the Vastu presentation. But we can pick all this up in the chat as we go on. I'm going to drop the link to that video in the chat. I think Martin's already put the link for tm.org. I highly recommend it. 20 minutes twice a day out of your day. It's wonderful. Thank you.